Hello, a different video today. It's not about Pro Evo or ISS Pro. I also play a bit of Football Manager, and I have done for many years, dating right back to when it was called Championship Manager on the Amiga, showing my age there. Now, one of the biggest issues people have with Football Manager, certainly over probably the last 6 or 7 years, has been the faces you get for the regens. I won't go into great detail. It's kind of the stick people use to beat SI over the head with. But with the way that AI technology has advanced in the last few years, there's better ways out there now to make regen faces. There's lots of creators doing a great job putting packs together. I've got a few downloaded myself from various sources that are really good. But I've also taken the time to try and make my own. But what I thought I'd do is try and share the knowledge, really. Just so really, I think the more people out there that are making, little packs of regens, the better, really. So, I mean, I've managed to make a few hundred with quite a bit of toil, but I don't really have enough free time to generate thousands and thousands and thousands of faces. So yeah, I think the more people that can do this themselves and maybe collaborate somewhere down the line, the better. So the tools that I'm using to do this, firstly, these two apps. Now, there's obviously loads of different web browsers out there, but for this particular task, I like using Opera, just because sometimes I need to copy and paste images, and it's very easy to do it with a couple of mouse clicks in Opera. So for that reason, I give Opera the thumbs up for this. I don't want to get into debates about which web browser is best on Windows and yada yada yada. But say just for this particular task, I'm a big fan of using Opera rather than say Chrome or Microsoft Edge. Paint.net. This is like free image editing software. As the name suggests, it's a bit like MS Paint but more advanced. It has kind of functionality that kind of puts it up there with maybe Photoshop. But again, with free image manipulation software, some people prefer GIMP. I've never really got the hang of GIMP. I prefer Paint.net. I only use it really for cropping and resizing, really, for this task. So your mileage may vary depending on what your favorite image editing software is. Now the websites that I use, remove.bg. I use it to kind of get the cutout vector effect. When I generate the images, sometimes I get backgrounds, and remove BG can very quickly remove the backgrounds for free. And the last one, the actual AI package, AI website I'm using to generate the photos is Playground AI, which uses Stable Diffusion. Now I know a lot of people out there like using the other one. I can't remember the name. Harmony? I'm going to say Harmony. I'm going to have to edit and put some text on the screen because I've actually forgotten the name of what the other one, the one that you have to use Discord to make the prompts. Now the key thing with all of these apps that I'm using here, they're all free. The last two to a certain extent. I mean, with Remove BG and Playground AI, there is paid versions, but I'm able to do what I need to do just with the free version. Remove BG, I can only download images at I think it's like 500 by 500 resolution, but for making regen faces, that's fine. Playground AI, I think on the free version, I can only generate up to quite generously about 1,000 pictures a day. Again, I'm not making that many pictures, so I very, very rarely hit that limit on Playground AI. What I'll do next, I'm just going to jump into paint.net. Now, these are some pictures that I've generated today. I haven't quite finished doing everything to them yet. I've pasted these out of Playground AI. At the moment, they're in 1024 by 1024 resolution. So I need to make them a bit smaller. I need to crop them because I just really want the head and maybe about that much of their shirt. There are some other face packs that were going around where maybe they just had the head, or you could only see a little bit of the shirt, or worst of all, they all had the same shirt on, which kind of really didn't help in terms of making it feel realistic. It kind of took you out of the game that, you know, there were 6,000 regens all wearing a purple Hummel shirt. It didn't quite help in terms of making you feel like it was a genuine part of the game. But these are all ones that I've generated, and I'm going to show you how I go about generating them. Now, these last two here I've actually cropped, and they're ready to be saved. So look, we've got two here that look 250. I've cropped them down to 250, 250 width by 300 height. Some people like doing 250 by 250. For the skin I'm using on FM23, 250 by 300 works just fine for me. So just doing things a bit backwards here. I'm actually just going to take one of these and I'm just going to start cropping the size down. So what I do in Paint.net, so I'm going to crop, just the shoulders there, just so we can see a bit of the shirt. And then I'm just going to crop it to that size. And then I just want to get the width down a little bit. So I'm just going to try and go to the width of the shoulders roughly, like that. And then I want to make it, so I'll put the height down to 300. So if I click on image and do resize, just drop the height to 300. It's still a bit too wide. So next I'm going to go to canvas size, which is Control Shift and R. So I've done this that many times, I use the keyboard shortcuts now. So 250 by 300, and there we go. So this is not quite ready yet, one last bit. So I'm going to take this now to remove BG, Control A to select all, Control C to copy, and then on here Control V, and it's just going to paste it straight into remove BG, and in a few seconds, boom, just like that. So I can just right click on this, copy it, and paste it over the top, and there we go, background gone. And now I've got that, that's ready to be saved into my regens folder. So the next bit I want to show you, which will be the most kind of drawn out bit, is the actual image generation, generating the images on Playground AI. So let's jump over to Playground AI. Okay, welcome to the Playground AI website. I'm just on the home page here. As you can see, there's lots of art type stuff here. Some of it may or may not be an SFW if you like pictures of elves and stuff like that. Up to you. Now, sign up. You can sign up for a free account, and you can do so with the catch that you have to have a Gmail account to sign up. I have a Gmail, so I'm going to sign in, and I'll come back when I've signed in. Okay, here I am on the home page, and there's a gallery here of all my various attempts at generating players, some good, some bad. So if I click over here on create, and I'm going to choose create on a board. Now these are the various settings I can go for here. Model, you've got Stable Diffusion 2.1, Stable Diffusion XL, which is a new one, Playground V1 and DALI 2. Now what works best for me is Stable Diffusion 1.5. Now filter. Now I tend to have the most luck with this one, Realistic Vision 2, or this one underneath, Protogen Photorealism. Some days one works better than the other. Again, it's kind of personal taste. I mean, some of these you're going to get kind of weird and wacky anime pictures if you try and use them to make FM regens. So I stick with this one because it is good for creating sort of photorealistic shots. Now next it's asking for a prompt. So this is where you type something in that you want it to generate. So I've got this prompt in Notepad that I'm just going to copy and paste. An 85mm DSLR color photography of a very detailed headshot fitting all of head and hair in frame, 21 years old. Now this bit star, I'm going to put in like a nationality. So let's say Welsh. against a grey background. Now it says here exclude from image, so we have to tell it this is what's called a negative prompt. So these are the things we don't want to happen. You tell it not to do it, but more often than not it still does it anyway. So I'm just going to tell it I don't want a mutated face, I don't want like cross eyes, and I don't want it to be like a 25 stone player, because that's obviously not going to look very realistic. Now over here we've got prompt guidance. I don't really change too much over here. I leave that on 10 and that one on 50. On the free package, I can't actually raise these sliders really any higher than they are already. Seed, I'm going to untick that one because sometimes I might manually change the number. Now, if I just click on generate and then I just wait a few seconds and we see what we get. Now, usually I don't just do text prompt only. Usually I'll use a photo. Now, actually, that's not come out too bad at all. I could use that one, but honestly, because I've been doing this so long, that does look quite similar to quite a lot of other regens I've done. Now I can play with the seed thing here. If I change this number, I'll just change the last two digits. I'll put it up to 17 instead of 16. And we'll just run it again. So, okay, that's actually a really good photo. But what I do next, if I like one of them, I click on this one, Actions, and then I do Face Restoration, which A, upscales the picture to quite a big resolution, and B, it kind of, if there is kind of any weird, I don't know, like a waxy quality to their face, or they've got like a gammy eye or something, it will actually kind of smooth it out a bit. Now, once I've got that, I'm just going to copy image, right click, copy image out of Opera, and in paint.net, I'm going to paste it as a new image. Now, as you've seen already, from here, I'm just going to crop that down. So we've got that much left of his shirt. Just going to drop the height down to 300. The width is actually now already 248 pixels. So actually this one, I can just drop him straight into remove BG and he's finished pretty much. There we go, right click, copy image, and there we go. So I can now save that. And now the other thing I wanted to show you that I do on Playground AI. So this is just using a bare text prompt. Now what I like to do is use a seed. So that's where we take a real photo and then the AI kind of uses that as a template. Now the thing we have to be very, very careful of here is we don't want the created image to look anything like an actual real person or too much like the seed photo that we've used. So I'm just going to use one of these guys at random. So let's see if I can get just the image. There we go. So I'm going to right click, copy image, and this is where Opera comes in handy. And then over here, image to image, I just click on here and look, see, it's got it on my clipboard, so I can just paste him in. Now this slider here is very important. So the more I go up, the closer it's going to look to the original photo, and it's going to follow my actual text prompt less. So it's going to almost be a one-to-one copy up this end. But down, once you get down to about 30 or below 30, then you kind of get something a bit more different, while at the same time still retaining some of what's in your seed photo. So I'm going to do it on about 50, just to see 50-50. And then we'll experiment and see what we get, at 70, and then I'll drop it right down. So let's do 50%. There we go. So it looks a bit different to this one. Very different haircut. But if I put him up to now about 75 or 80, there you go. So you can see it is quite close. There we go, to the original picture, maybe a bit too close. So now let's drop it down a bit. Let's go down to 40. Okay, quite similar to what we had at 50. But I think, again, I've got something I can use there. So I'm just going to do the face restoration. Okay, this takes a few seconds to run sometimes. This is going to be one of those sequences that I speed up in edit. There we go, copy, and then I'll drop him into, so he's in paint.net now. So just going to cut the top off there. Let's just crop it down to about there. Let's quickly crop that. Go down to 300, 250 width. Remove BG. So if I drop this down a bit more now, I'm going to drop it down to, so there we go, about 17, and it should be quite different now. And I might even change the seed number here. Okay, these ones are getting a bit too similar actually, so I'm going to drop this down quite a bit more to 7. So I'm just going to try mixing things up a bit here. Let's say we want a Scottish. No, okay, I'm going to try, let's see what Protogen does. I'm going to try changing the filter. So yeah, there is quite a bit of trial and error involved in this. Oh, there we go, that's a bit different. So I'm going to go with this. So I'm going to apply face restoration to blow the image up a bit, and then I'll copy and paste that into paint.net. Okay, let's do remove BG, and then we are done. Now the other way I can really change, so now we're down to about 7 or 8 here. Well, let's leave it at 15. Now you can change a lot here by using the text prompt. We can add some stuff to the text prompt. So I might say bearded, let's give him curly hair, tattoos, just try and add some stuff to it, and try generating again, see if we get anything drastically different. Wow. Okay, I think this guy's more ready for Aussie rules than he is like Tuesday night at Wycombe Wanderers. Slightly crazy hair, but hey, it's the future. These regens are going to be, I guess, kicking around in like the year 2025 onwards. So hey, who's to say what the haircuts will be like in 5 years' time? Let's try that again. Tattoos on. Okay, we'll say tattoos on the neck. So sometimes when it gets kind of stuck in a bit of a rut, I just like changing up the seed number. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a bit better. So now he's got his sleeves back at least. I can work with this. So let's go face restoration. And that's another one I'll drop into remove BG and yeah, crop out everything else. Now, yeah, the other thing I wanted to show you on this is, yeah, if I change things up drastically, so I'm still using a guy from Burton Albion here. So yeah, I tend to pull up I don't know, just a random team, sometimes non-league teams, just try and get pictures from the youth squad and use that as like a baseline. But the combination of your sort of template picture plus the prompt that you put into the AI, you kind of get a mixture of the two. I have had some fun where I've actually taken I've used a seed photo of a current famous player and then used a prompt that's asked for like a 21-year-old version of, and then maybe a legendary player from the 80s or 90s, and you end up getting you end up seeing what the son of, I don't know, Harry Kane and Gary Lineker would look like. So on my text prompt, I'm actually going to change the nationality a bit, and you'll see the AI does try to, it does change up the facial structure depending on what sort of race of people you put in, because these regens are going to be saved in different folders depending on what race they are, so that I can apply them using the Nugan tool. Okay, so this guy is, now I've said Russian, now he's absolutely covered in neck tattoos. So I can keep changing this. Look, I can put Spanish. And maybe if I want to change the hair color, that's something else we can add to the prompt as well. There we go. So he's already got black hair now. Still not sure what's going on with this tattoo. His tattoos actually blend with the sleeves. That Adidas have come up with a new kind of very good kit design there. So take off the beard. Let's say hipster hair. Let's see if that does anything. It's not too great on hairstyles, I find. Oh, there we go. So he's got a bit of a blonde streak now. Will this be the next Messi? There you go. It looks a little bit like a Guerrero, actually. I think I'm going to drop the tattoos because it keeps putting them in a weird place on the sleeves. There we go. That's pretty cool. So applying face restoration, and then we can just, yeah, we can. Actually, let's do it another way around just to show you. You don't have to do it exactly the same way around. It's just I prefer to crop on the big sized one rather than doing it on this one, which is going to be quite small. So actually, you're going to see now what happens when you paste a very big image onto Remove BG. So it's only going to let me download that at 500 resolution. Control Alt and V. So yeah, when I crop this now, I might end up with something a bit too low res. That's our guy. I think I'll stop it there for now. So I might do another video that follows on from this that just explains how I save them into different folders, obviously based on whether they're Caucasian, Asian, African, etc. There's a lot of different folders that the NuGAN tool uses to put them into the game. And then actually, maybe in another video, I'll show you how these guys actually look in the game as well. So yeah, hope you got some useful information on how to make your own regens, and hopefully this will catch on because I'm I'm not generating nearly enough. As a once you get deep into a save game, your database could be around 30,000, 40,000 players that need a new face, and the SI ones don't really cut it. So thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll be able to come back and do another one that explains a bit more of this.